This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Jack Threads. Coming up, we're taking a look at two comics today, Saga and Thief of Thieves.
Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week for you today. We are back in comics talking about two new number ones, Saga and Thief of Thieves.
That is right. And then tomorrow, it's not March anymore, but we're still going with the madness. We got our last of the current top 100 honing episodes of Versus.
Yes.
And then on Wednesday, Jeff goes to a far-off place.
Called
A
San
borderland.
Francisco.
The Borderlands. I call it San Francisco. It is a borderland, San Francisco.
It is.
Check out Borderlands 2 coming right at you.
I mean, like,
It's on the border
ocean.
of the ocean.
It has borders.
It's on the border of the ocean. Thursday, we're going to be checking in with the kids from American Pie seeing American Reunion, all grown up.
All grown up. And then Friday, we're all grown up watching some adult fantasy. It's Game of Thrones, the Totally Rad Show's game.
Been watching that for years.
Yeah.
It's Game of Thrones was Totally Rad Show's TV show of the year. It won the Ratty. So we got to tune in. We got to check out the first episode back and see what we think.
Yeah, more little dragons, please. We also want to thank, if you don't know what this is behind here, you probably don't have an iOS device, but the guys from OMG Pop actually sent us our very own replica You Draw Something.
They sent it before that game got huge.
Yeah.
But now the game is huge. I'm completely addicted to it.
I tried to
I
start.
love it.
I tried to start a game, but nobody started one with me, so I was like, eh.
Start one with you.
No, I know.
I
don't
started
know
out
how I
playing
did this.
randoms.
That's what I tried to hit a
Yeah.
random, but I was on the bathroom toilet, and it just took too long, and I was like, I'm not waiting.
Too much.
I'm gonna do
Good
my
thing you
work.
were in the bathroom toilet, because if you were in the bedroom toilet, it would have been...
so much different.
The bedroom toilet is it's called European. On the
are
floor.
peeing?
Yep, you are peeing on the floor. All right, let's get into it, shall we?
Boy. We're going to talk about a couple of comics today that are brand new issue number ones of new series from Image Entertainment, which is celebrating, can you believe this? Its 20-year anniversary.
Wow.
I remember buying I know where I was, I know what state I was in when I bought the first Image.
Oh, me
Was Spawn
too.
number one not the first Image comic
There were a
book?
bunch of them at the same,
Yeah,
Shadowhawk.
Shadowhawk was I picked
Yeah,
Shadowhawk over
Wildcats.
Spawn. Yep.
Spawn, Savage Dragon.
Wow.
It was a huge time for comics.
Yeah.
Anywho, now 20 years later, we got a couple of new number ones from very prominent creators. The first one we're going to talk about is a book called Saga. It's from one of our favorite writers, Brian K. Vaughan, who we have talked about numerous times on the show. Our love of Why the Last Man, Last Pride of Baghdad, Ex Machina. These are all books that we've professed love for. what are you gonna say?
Not Last Pride of Baghdad. It's just
Pride of Baghdad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Trying to make a
We all
Why
know
the last
why
man,
you
last
went-
pride,
last-
last
yeah.
action hero.
Anywho, and he teams up with Fiona Staples, who did all the art, even the coloring of the book, to do Saga, a new ongoing book that he designed specifically to be a comic book property and not adapted into other mediums. And it's something that he conceptualized as a kid, obviously heavily influenced by Star Wars, but it's something he sort of thought about as a kid and put in a drawer and then came back to after he and his wife had a child, which of course plays a very prominent role in the story. It is very much about a child, and it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet story of two star-crossed lovers that are from different sides of a war that come together and have this, this child, and both sides of the war are after them. So we've read the first issue, the second, which sold out. The second issue comes out April 11th, and it would be a second printing of that first issue as well if you want to check it out. Dan, you are a Brian K. Vaughan super fan.
I'm a super fan of BKV.
Yeah? Although maybe not his lost work, I don't know.
No, I think I enjoyed his lost work.
Anywho.
Anywho. No, remember the show got better when he came on because time travel
That's
things
true.
were happening. Anyway,
Tell me what you thought of Saga.
Saga.
Chapter 1.
Brian K. Vaughan is extraordinary. His thing, his shtick, if you want to be colloquial about it, but what he really excels at is really humanizing high concepts. he's really good at, despite the severity of any situation or the otherworldliness, whether it's a superhero or
Fantasy hero.
fantasy heroes, they still communicate to each other like regular folks do, with humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a book about people with horns and wings
Right,
and robots.
but they're talking about, like, she's, the opening frame, she's giving birth and she's, yelling at her husband like a normal human would be yelling at her husband and there's even, jokes about it and all that stuff,
Yeah.
That stuff is awesome, but that approach, I didn't enjoy this comic at all.
Really?
I wasn't even intrigued to read more, and I found the fiction really hard to grasp. It didn't feel like there was a unit. Now, this could change throughout the series, and we could get revelations later, but in the first issue, I didn't get the like in Firefly, the fiction, or Serenity, Firefly, fiction, 3,000 years in the future, we're colonizing space, China became a superpower, so everyone speaks Chinese. Like, and you could see the influence of that one notion, across the entire universe, how it's realized.
But there's no moment here of even sort of expressing that.
I agree, and I don't understand, I don't have a grasp on, this guy represents this, and this represents that, and this is, the guys with the TVs on their head. It feels like in his, I hate being presumptuous, but it feels like in the, I'm going to make this a comic book, so much a comic book that it can never be adapted into a movie. Mm-hmm. It's maybe fighting, it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's fighting the things that excite me, because of course I'm always seeing the cinematic thing in comics. So I just couldn't get a handle on, I couldn't grasp the meaning of all the different, why she has a horn and she's got a this and a that and whatever. I mean, I get the illusion, but it didn't cohese together for me.
Did it cohese for you, Alex?
It definitely cohesed for me. I was really
The art
surprised.
is great, though. I did love the art.
Yeah, I was really surprised at this and how much I was sort of pulled into this in spite of what Dan said. I mean, I think that was one of the things that got me, was that as soon as it started, I was like, he has horns? Reminded me instantly of Catherine.
Yeah,
which unfortunately, I don't think any humanoid figure that's sort of like a kind of like just hipster guy with horns will ever not remind me of Catherine. And so I immediately was like, wings, horns, baby. This is gonna be hard for Alex to like. And then it just started going, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah. I want to go to a forest with that build of rocket ships. I want to go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really like the mythology. And I mean, it's very, you kind of nailed it with the Romeo and Juliet. It is very standard star-crossed lover fare. Mm-hmm. Standard. So far, yeah. But enough little twists on it, and I think that's where I did enjoy the sort of mythology of this world and what was happening and why it was happening. And there's a character that's sort of, kind of Han Solo meets Boba Fett in this book that I was instantly like, oh, I'm gonna love that. That's my guy with the truth cat. That's my guy.
The truth cat, or no,
Amazing.
lion cat.
The lion cat, yeah.
It tells when you're lying.
It's like moments like that, I was like, wow, I am in. And there was a lot of heart to it, and it really is truly just sort of a story of these two people and why won't the world let them be just be. And I think that's, can become about a lot of things. And so I was really shocked. And it is gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. The characters are designed amazingly.
Yeah.
And again, it's right. It's that Brian K. Vaughan, the sort of, almost sort of Whedon-esque kind of, in this crazy situation, I'm still talking to you about the Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like, it's still about what it would be about if I was in that situation with horns. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's still grounded and real.
So I was really surprised.
I also really liked it. I am hooked, and what I liked about it is kind of, I think, what you had the problem with, which is it doesn't feel like any other fantasy place. I don't have a template that I can go, oh, I get it. These people are the that, and these people are the this, and we got orcs versus humans, or we've got aliens, whatever. It's its own weird thing that I'm going to be discovering more and more about as we go along. Which
That's not
really
exactly
exciting.
what I was saying.
Yeah, I
Let's stay away from
understand.
that point.
You're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that you didn't even see
the fiction of its own.
Yeah.
Of its own.
You didn't even see the
mythology.
relationships
Yeah,
between.
inside its own.
Which I feel like I think that's all gonna come out, and there's a certain whimsy that's happening. There's a certain. It's a light. As adult as it certainly is,
Oh, yeah.
with nudity and sex and all that stuff, there's a lightness to it. I mean, the map is like the uncanny bridge, which of course would probably bridge the uncanny valley, which I
yeah.
think I love that kind of stuff.
You know what I think you guys, you know what's very like? Terry Gilliam.
Man, we love
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on, but I agree with you. The art is fantastic, and I think it's something people should not miss. The other number one we're talking about, which came out the same week, is Thief of Thieves, and it's a story by Robert Kirkman. Of course, we're a big fan of with his work on Invincible, which we covered on the show, and of course, Walking Dead is what he's most known for. But it's written by Nick Spencer, who is doing another book we covered on the show, the Ultimate Comics X-Men. And drawn by Sean Martinborough. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I apologize.
Martinborough.
Yeah, that's probably much closer. Anywho, Thief of Thieves is the polar opposite of Saga in that it is very grounded. There's no capes, there's no cowls, there's no fantasy, there's no robots, no lasers. It is a real life kind of spy thriller, not spy thriller, thief heist movie. Yes,
gangster,
exactly.
yeah.
It's like the Thomas Crown Affair kind of thing.
Exactly, and we have the first issue establishing the relationship between the head guy named Redman and his apprentice, and we get some flashback. We get a really clever, I think, heist. Tell me what you thought of the first issue of Thief of Thieves.
This was a little bit of a mixed bag. I oscillated between sort of like, I don't know if I'm really digging this, to wow, this is really cool. I'm digging this. And it kind of ended on a note of like, okay, I guess. So I'd like to read more, but it's hard because there are a lot of really smart ideas. And there's a really great scene of sort of like him discovering the girl breaking into his car, and then instead of being mad, like basically telling her, showing her so much to kind of be like, you're not even in the right ballpark, lady.
Yeah.
And then that turns into this sort of apprentice, relationship type of thing. Really loved all that stuff. And the whole concept of sort of like, it reminded me a little bit of the TV show Leverage. Like it almost felt like this guy had a company in an office, and you go to him saying, I want you to steal something crazy for me, and that's like his job, you know what I mean? Like they have, a thing on the wall. It's like, come on in if you need something high value stole. It's, and I kind of dug that kind of a thing. But there just was something sort of like, there was a little thorn in my shoe, you know what I mean, with this. There was just something that I didn't care for, and I can't quite put my finger on it. No, I can't quite put my finger on it because there was a lot that I really liked about it, and I thought the art style was really great. It just was one of those things that there's just something that didn't quite sit with me, and I don't know what it was, and the way it ended I really didn't like.
Dan, seems like something that's much more up your alley.
I loved it. I mean, I don't even have much to say. I loved it so much I read the second issue. And if I had a criticism, there's even some Hudson Hawk, the things that we like about Hudson Hawk, not the off the bat craziness, but the Dan Aiello and him buddy interactions amidst burglaring. Also, it's fun. If I had to name a criticism, the art is great. He looks like Danny Ocean, and his buddy looks like Brad Pitt. They're kind of just like, there's no innovation in how they look, but it's all solid stuff. The heist ideas, how they steal, why, all that stuff is great. The dialogue is as snappy as it must be and should be, and it is. It delivers on that. And there's fun, even not the heist stuff, but just the criminal lifestyle concepts are great. What Ox was citing, great. The relationship, I love how it operates. It's almost episodic within its itself. So it's like every other page is like a new, like, the time when Danny Ocean got his thing, Redman got his thing. Yeah, it's got every like other, and it's out of order a little bit, right? It's flashbacks. It goes completely out of order at certain points.
And I think that's really cool. I mean, Kirkman takes a lot of pride in having comics as comics, and I think both these issues that we're talking about are of the medium in a way that you could make that work in a TV show or a movie.
Not every minute, though.
Exactly. And I like that about it. I had a lot of fun with this book, and I'm anxious to see more. It's proof again, over and over, that comics don't need to be superheroes to be really entertaining and live in the comic medium in a justified way. I like these characters. They're fun to be around. The heist at the beginning seemed really, at first at face value, seemed really typical and uninteresting, and then you get the little twist, and it's like, oh, that was a very smart heist, which I love. I love smart people doing smart things in any medium. So I think this is another book to watch. I think for me, these were two very strong debuts in the same week.
I think the interesting differentiation is about them both, and especially when you reference them as comics that operate as comics, is Saga felt like it was an entire episode of a show, whereas Thief of Thieves felt like the first commercial break, and then we're gonna cut. You know what I mean?
Like, well, it also was 40.
Yeah, it's a
five pages of the saga and 24 pages of. Because I remember when I finished, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And both $3.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool too.
Value, good value.
There you go. Check them out.
Boom.
At the comic book store near you.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, Jeff Kanata.
I'm going to do you guys a service. I'm going to tell you something that is going to help you out in the love department. If you're looking for a lady, it's a two-pronged approach. Let me tell you about the first prong. The first prong, can't talk about the second prong.
Whoa.
That's the third prong.
Yeah.
First
Keep that
prong.
third prong to yourself.
Don't go wrong, use the first prong. The first prong, look good. You want to look
prong.
good for the ladies. That's how you catch their eye.
Yeah.
They, like a peacock with the feathers, they catch the eye of the ladies.
Yes.
How do you do that? Well, you look good in sweet-ass threads. You wear stuff like Kid Robot, Hurley, Stussy. The brands the ladies enjoy, name brands.
Ooh.
That brings me to the second
Second
prong.
prong is don't use words like sweet ass and threads.
I'm just talking to the fellas right now. Just talking to the fellas.
I forgot, we were in private here. We're in private.
Second prong.
Sounds like he's jerking
The
his
ladies
third prong.
don't want to be dating a sucker. They
No.
do not like suckers.
They
as
do
much
not.
as I
You want to date a sucker. Am I right?
always.
Wait, the down south?
Always the down south. It's always
There's
the
a
down
line.
south for Nick.
There's a
He's
line.
a one-track mind.
I love that we're all making these subtle jokes. It's like, she's gonna blow you. Wait, I thought we were all saying sexual things.
I didn't say that.
Okay, go ahead. So
Yeah.
how do I be an opposite of a sucker?
Talking to fellas. Don't be a sucker. This is the second prong.
there's anything wrong with
Ladies
being a
do not
sucker.
they do not like the suckers. The suckers are the guys that look fly, first prong, but pay full price to do so. That you messed up the second prong.
No third prong action.
Here's no third prong action. You'll never
Nope.
get to the third
You can't
prong.
just jump the second prong straight to the third. It's not gonna happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's how we hook you up. JackThreads.com. JackThreads is your hook up the third prongdom. By hooking up with the second prong, by giving you the first prong. They'll give you 80% off sweet premium brands. It's a members only club and we will get you in. You don't have to mess around with any waiting lists. You can get these awesome brands up to 80% off every single day by going to jackthreads.com/TRS. Do it right now. Boop, boop, boop. 3 prongs.
Bingo, bango.
Don't miss tomorrow for more verses.
Today's Twitter question comes to us from Ross Pauley at Greedy Raven, because those ravens love to eat worms.
Too many worms for
Too many, it's super greedy. If you got to pick BioWare's next project, what would it be? New IP or their take on an existing franchise?
I have the best answer for this. It just
What?
congealed for me.
All right.
So it occurred to me a month ago. I went and saw the entire series in one go of a movie franchise that I had never seen the sequels of. I'd only seen the original, and I realized, oh my God, this mythology. There's so much to be making an MMO. That's what I thought at the time. Oh my God, BioWare making, if not an MMO but an RPG, Planet of the Apes. The mythology. I always thought of it as that first movie. The sequels all have some hookiness, but all have some really
That's a
awesome
really cool
things in it
idea.
too.
Yeah.
There is such
You're
a
gonna be
rich
monkey or man or monkey.
The history of that, I mean, it does better than what Star Wars did with like expanding on the characters from the original and like creating how this universe came to be and how it operates, and it's awesome. And there's exciting battles and conquests and rises and
False?
beneaths. No.
You know the tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Planet of the Apes is the right answer.
Well, as much as I would love to see like them take the Mass Effect engine and do, for example, a new Baldur's Gate would make me very happy. Or, oh my God, if they did Ultima, I would be the happiest boy ever. But with rights issues, whatever. What I really would love, I mean, that's fan. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes.
what I really would love is a new IP, and I want someone to do a AAA awesome role-playing game set in a true steampunk universe. I want steampunk, and I want it done intricately and not with the same conventions we see in every other game. Its own take. I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I am. Steampunk might be the win. Yeah, it might be the win. I mean, they've already taken on Star Wars, which was awesome, and I feel like
medieval time fantasy.
And medieval time fantasy stuff, and maybe something in current time. But I feel like I would.
But like a western, that'd be kind of cool. Or
Red Dead turned me off for game westerns.
Oh, that's such a good game. Though.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh yeah, that horrible not game of the year, Red Dead.
So you got nothing.
no.
You wouldn't want to see like a modern
Steampunk.
time, like the Matrix kind of deal.
That's not modern times, but that's.
Oh, it
that's
is. It's
interesting.
modern times, and then it goes into a weird fantasy world. But
Yeah.
Right.
I think steampunk kind of has it. I'd like to play a monkey. Thank you, Ross Pauly.